Josh. Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to a special episode of Podro Pascal with me, your co-host, Rachel Leishman.
Me, your other co-host, Catrina Dennis.
And we have a very special guest, a very accomplished simp on the internet. She has many other titles, but when I asked how to introduce her, she said professional simp. So I'm going with it. And it's Aiko.
Yay!
No last
name.
One name on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm Zendayaing everything after this.
It's a good move. It's a good way to stand
Right?
out. Like if your byline is just Aiko, people will be like, "Who's that? That sounds like
she?
So mysterious.
Who's that girl? It's Aiko.
Aiko.
We get to hit the notes slightly different, so then they don't think we're copying the New Girl theme.
Exactly.
Copyright laws aren't like. Yes, we're here this week to. I kind of hinted about this when we did our premiere episode of The Last of Us. We're going to talk about both the premiere, like in-person premiere walking, not the episode, for the series, and then the New York event. And in between all of that, we also had a Mandalorian trailer drop. So we're going to talk about the Mandalorian trailer. Which that's kind of the news. There's not much news outside of everyone likes The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Everyone is in love with him and think he's hot. Someone on the internet, one of our followers, I believe her name is Britt, DM'd me and was like, some guy is stealing your thunder. And I went and looked, and some guy wrote an article that said, how Podro Pascal became the next Harrison Ford. And I'm sorry. There's many things you can say belong to the world. That belongs to only me. So I don't understand why this man thought he could take my whole bit.
It's 100% copyright infringement, and you should totally sue.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Bruh.
My uncle's a lawyer, and he says that you can absolutely sue.
Thank you so much. I didn't work so hard in my life to have two podcasts, one about the filmography of Harrison Ford and one about the filmography of Podro Pascal, for some band to just be like, hey, I'm going to put the B to your A and C. And I'll be like, what have you backed up? Take the B and back it up. Oh, that was my news for the day, was that man has made an enemy. And it's me. I'm the enemy. Mm-hmm. Katrina, do you have any news?
No, I got nothing Pedro related, honestly. Like, I was really excited to watch the trailer drop. That was really cool. But I'll give you my full reaction to that later. Other than that, I got a new computer this weekend, and it's my personality now. Like, I don't have a personality outside of this thing. Like,
oh my god, it's so big. Wait,
it's a Borg cube. It's a Borg cube PC. Yeah, like I don't know how far I can bring it over, but it's like a Picard like damaged Borg cube in like Snow White limited edition, and it has like
how
a custom...
nerdy we are. You showed me that, and I instantly was like, "Is that a Borg cube?"
Yes. Welcome to my wonderful life. I have been assimilated. I am now back fully on PC. If anybody's looking to buy a Mac, hit me up because I'm getting rid of mine. I'm like all in now. It's good stuff.
All in until all of a sudden you can't do something and you're like, goddamn PCs.
Yeah. Well, thankfully I have like a PC nerd for a boyfriend, so I don't have to worry about a lot of things. I just ask him questions. He's like, I love answering questions. That's like half my deal. So he's a man. He loves answering questions.
They love to answer questions.
I have so many questions for him.
So here's what we'll do first. Aiko, why don't you explain yourself, your talents as a writer, your title as a professional simp, and then like we can get into the premiere and kind of we'll keep the Mandalorian for last. So all of you people have to sit here and listen to us.
I have to listen to you guys
my rage.
Can sit here and listen to them with me because I didn't go to any premiere. But I do know
mine wasn't a premiere. It was a crazy ass fan event. To be clear,
I'm really excited for like the radical differences between this because like Rachel went to like some chill fan event and everything was cool and there were posters from like 2003 and stuff, and then Aiko had like a freaking feature length film happen to her. Like, not to discredit you, Rachel, but like
no, and she also had to go swimming. in order to get there.
This is going to be interesting. So if you have to kick back and listen, get ready because it's a good one.
Like, I saw pictures that Rachel posted and I was like so fucking pissed. This reignited my like anger towards this entire fucking thing. Because I was like, fan event. Why didn't we get the same fucking experience if it was technically the same fucking thing? I'm pretty sure it was even the same company, right?
Well, yes and no. I think Iota did. I know Iota did the tickets for the premiere, but the fan event was both like I went to the press like preview of it, so I don't know how different it is compared to like what people who had tickets went through.
I can actually talk about the press LA as well because a friend of mine went. Texted me after the fact and was like, "Why didn't you let me know that you were going to be there? I would have like gotten you in as my +1." And I almost shot my brains out. Literally.
That is the worst text message to receive. Like after the fact.
This is how I die. Like, and that wasn't even the worst part of my week. So like, okay, let's just circle back. I, as a professional simp, at least as a professional Pedro Pascal simp, I don't know. I got followed by him like early 2021 through a thirst tweet. So I think that very much constitutes me as a very successful simp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as like a professional and everything else.
That is the definition of a professional simp. The minute
that nothing else matters
follows you from something that was thirsty and or making fun of that person. If they follow you, that makes you a professional, either best friend or bully or simp for them. It's like one of those 100%. 3 tiers.
Yep. I don't think that winning any award. Yeah, any award that I win in the future does not compete. Like, this man needs to come back to Twitter so that I can, regain my bragging rights because he left and now I'm like, I'm not cool anymore. What the fuck is wrong with you, sir?
I will say, if you type in his name, it is the saddest thing ever, which, this applies to just the two of us. I'm sorry, Catrina. I love you so much. But when you type in his name and it just says follows you, but it has no other information, I'm like,
it's just like something went wrong. And I'm like, I don't like you. This is dumb.
like, however.
So I was in California the last 2 months. If you've been following my journey or whatever, if you know very little, I was there. I was in LA for a couple of weeks for a few meetings, industry meetings, and then I was in San Francisco with my family for like a month and a half. It was great. It was amazing. It was incredible. Cut to, I was supposed to come back home January 7th. And it was like mid-December. We were like, oh, I wonder when The Last of Us premiere is going to be. Because I'm in the area. Like, if there's a premiere, I could drop everything and just like skedaddle back into LA. And that would be like the easiest thing ever. So like, I think it was like halfway through December, someone tags me in that one Iota post being like enter the raffle to like win tickets to The Last of Us premiere. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. It's a fan event. It's a whole fucking thing. I'm like, whatever, who cares? Let's just do it. And part of me was fully convinced that I was going to get the email like the Monday of, and everything was going to be like the worst experience ever because I'd already be back home, and going back would have been disastrous, and monetary time, etc. So I was like, part of me was like, this is just not happening. Like, I'm just gonna whatever, go about my life, who cares. And then randomly the Wednesday before, I get an email. We're just like getting ready to leave to do some errands, and I get an email, and it's this stupid fucking thing telling me that I've been confirmed for the premiere, and I just fucking lose it. I don't know. I feel like my delusional brain took over, and I was just like, this is it, you guys. This is it. This is the one. This is the thing. And I just like call my fucking airline, change all my fucking flights. I'm like, I'm making this because I'm making this. There's like no fucking way I'm like missing out, obviously. Spend the next 3 days like getting the rest of my outfit together, like shoes, bag, everything. I was ready and prepared. And then fly back to LA, no problem, whatever. I'm staying at a friend's. And then I was very optimistic. I was hoping that it wouldn't actually happen, but I get there and it's raining. And this is like not typical LA rain where it's just like, it's a drizzle, it's fine, who cares, right? No, it's actually pouring down rain. It's the worst. It's awful. And it just continues to rain for the rest of the fucking day. And I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. I'll admit the saga before the actual thing where I like went out to try to find an umbrella and I got like soaked, just completely fucking soaked. And I get back and I get ready and I'm just like, my heart is like, I'm losing it. I'm literally losing it. Like I've got a folder on my phone with all the screenshots to like prove to this man, if I ever see him, that like, this is who I am. Do you like know who I am? And I'm like psyching myself up basically. So thankfully like a friend drove me to the whole thing and we were there technically like early-ish. My ticket had changed from general admission to priority admission. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the coolest fucking thing ever. What do you mean? Like, what? I was expecting like just an insane fucking thing that just did not end up happening. But at that point, my hopes were just like really, really fucking high. So we get there. They've got us all lined up in this very wet, very dingy parking lot, like a block away from the theater. It's still pouring rain. A lot of people don't have umbrellas, and it's become very clear that this is not what anyone had thought that this was going to be. And so like it's a 45-minute wait in the rain. At some point they like started handing out umbrellas to the people that needed them, which was like really good on their part, but also like crazy. And we're waiting and waiting. At that point I was like, I'm just going to be fucking funny and I'm going to live tweet the entire experience because I thought that was going to be like the highlight, right? I needed to document it. There we fucking go. I needed to document it. It needed to be documented.
I truly was like listening to your story and going and like I'm gonna go find all of these tweets because they were so funny. Just like soaking in the water, just like miserable.
Unhinged behavior.
Yeah,
Genuinely unhinged.
What's wild is that like even in that shot you can clearly see that people dressed to be at a red carpet event back there and they were not going to that, were they?
They fucking told us.
Oh yeah,
they
these
fucking
people
told
in the
us.
background.
They fucking told us, this is a Hollywood premiere. Please dress to impress. And everyone was dressed to the nines. I will say that. Everyone was dressed really nicely. I did see some sneakers, which kind of broke the illusion for me because they were like very specific about wearing sneakers. And there were people with sneakers and nothing fucking happened. So I was like, why was I so fucking worried about dress code when literally who the fuck cares? Right. But yeah, we're 45 minutes under the rain. It's so great. Having the time of my life, freaking out still. And then we line up to go into the theater. So what had happened was, and I didn't see this on like the options that you could like apply for the raffle. But apparently there was an option, or there was a group before us that was even more preferential than preferential. They actually got to go on the red carpet and walk the red carpet. But this was before the actual cast and crew had arrived. So I don't know what the whole thing was or how it actually went down, but there was a group before us that left the red carpet. And we're all just very fucking confused. Like, how the fuck do you actually do, like, where, how? And then while we were in line waiting, another group got like randomly selected to go right next to me. And I was like, what? How is this even like, how do we, what? It was so weird, so disorganized.
The little like you move the line thing that is holding it and then just go around it and put it back and then walk with them.
No, just they were lining them up literally beside me, and dead giveaway. So as the line went on, because they were finally lining us up to like move out. They this is the part that fucking gets me every fucking time. They started putting our phones in bags, like those sealed bags they just cannot get into. And this was pre like getting to the theater. Everyone was like phones and bags. And it was like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? Why? In my head, I'm like, of course this is happening. I know that this is happening. I was just not expecting it to happen literally this early. Because then, like, the group beside me was not put through that line of like, oh, let's put your phones in a bag, but they were like allowed to keep their phones and then ushered toward the red carpet. And I was like, right next to me? Are you like, is this a joke? Like, am I just not the main character in this fucking story?
You are for sure an extra in this story where it was like the main character like walked. This was the main character's fanfic dream.
I was just like, I'm sorry, this is my reader insert moment. What the fuck is happening? Like, rude. Very rude. Whoever's writing me, fucked up.
Rude.
Fucked up.
Yeah. What the
That's so we get our phones taken away. So for the next like hour and a half after we're in the theater, we're basically like separated from the main celebrity area. So there were 2 floors to the theater. The top floor where we were at, all the fans. And to be fair to this company, I get it. There were hundreds of us. It would have been a fucking hazard if they had even dared let us try to meet people or get a picture with anybody, right? And this is like an event that they're running literally side by side, the premiere. Like, it wasn't their job to sort of, I don't know, like get us to mingle. It was their job to keep us separate so that the premiere could actually happen and we could just like be there as spectators. So they separated us. We're on the top floor. Everyone that's like part of the crew and the cast and that's actually walking the red carpet. Still don't know if it's like the people that walked before from like our fan event were included in that. I think not, but I don't know. I haven't seen any tweets. But the bottom part was like where everything was. So like the bathrooms and then obviously the entrance to the theater and the entrance to the bottom side where all the cast, all the crew was sitting. So it's like we're in the theater. It's an hour and a half of just nothing. A terrible fucking YouTube playlist. And I know it's a YouTube playlist because there were like live songs. And I was so confused because I was like, what the fuck? Whatever. Whoever curated that playlist was just like in their own little world. It was great. They were doing their thing. I respect it. And then just like the fucking movie screen was just a very annoying loop of the Last of Us like logo. Just whatever. And
that's
again,
weird.
they've left us.
Yeah, they did the same thing, but it was like, so you have no phone, so you're just sitting there like,
what the fuck do I do for an hour and a half? And we're all just like, what is happening? Because they were obviously running late. You know, every fucking premiere runs late, duh.
Of course.
As it always does. But it was like an hour and a half. It was like, I think at that point we were like 15 minutes late and I'd gone fucking crazy. I'd gone downstairs to the bathroom and I just stopped before going back upstairs and I just like stood there in like the intersection and just like people watched for a little bit. I was like, I need to like people watch. I cannot go back upstairs. Security was on me the second that I fucking stood there. Someone approached me. He had contact with me, approached me and was like, I'm sorry, are you waiting on someone? And I was like, yeah, totally fucking waiting on someone. And then they promptly like left me alone. But I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, like what if I do anything that they deem like wrong, I can get kicked out. So I was terrified. Jeez. Now looking back at it, I'm like, I should have just fucking stayed there for as long as it fucking took. But here's the kicker. I came back downstairs a little bit later and just because I was like bored and fucking snooping as hell. But there was nobody coming in from the show that I recognized at the very least. And I was like, this is very fucking weird. And I was like, it got to a point where I was like, the cast cannot be here. Like, there's no way in fucking hell that they're here because I haven't seen anybody and I haven't heard anything. And to add insult to injury, when the premiere finally started, they didn't introduce the cast. They just sort of Neil and Craig gave their speeches. Somebody else from HBO or Warner gave a speech, and that was it. Nothing else.
Jeez.
And I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're not even gonna prove to me that this man is real by calling his name and like making him stand in the front of like whatever. I was prepared to like cheer my fucking little heart out.
No.
And you're not even gonna give me that. So I'm just
No
like
way.
there after like an hour and a half, finally watching the show. Loved it, by the way. The show is fucking great. Watching it on a big screen, incredible. So cool. Just writing my little notes on my stupid little notebook, you know, in the dark, as one does. And then that was kind of it. The end of it was very much like the coolest part, I guess I could say, because we had to stick around. I'm gonna assume, and this is just purely my assumption, because I can't. There's no way of knowing, at least from my angle, that because Pedro was there with family, they left early, or they left the second that it ended. Because I'm just like, that just seems the most logical to me, in terms of if someone's gonna get mobbed, it's gonna be him, you know?
Yeah.
So we're like, lights come back up, everyone's like, congratulations, cheering, shaking hands, talking, whatever, congregating, I guess you could say. And they're not letting us leave until everybody downstairs leaves. So they're like, literally the organizers were like, we're so sorry, you guys, but you can't leave until the celebrities leave. And I was like, what are you talking about? You can't even go to the bathroom until the celebrities leave.
What?
The actual fuck? There were a lot of people that I saw that were at the premiere who were complaining about the exact same thing. So I'm like, okay, at the very least, we're all in like agreement that this was fucked up and stupid. And I get it. Again, I understand from an industry perspective. I'm like, yes, you cannot just let like hundreds of fans run free, fully knowing that the people that they're here to see are downstairs.
Right.
And there's like not enough security to sort of control that avalanche. I understand. Still kind of fucked up that they made us wait. And the people were not leaving. So I kept peering over the edge because I'm a very fucking nosy bitch. And there were just like some people left. But then, like, for example, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, I saw Bella Ramsey at some point. They were all just there talking, just congregated, talking. And I was like, I love you. You're so beautiful. You're incredible. You're real. Aww. Please leave so that I can go home because I'm angry. If I can run out of here fast enough, maybe I'll catch a glimpse of my man. But that's just not fucking happening at this point. So I'm like, pissed. The rage is just slowly bubbling up, and like my brain's trying to pretend like it's not that big of a deal, or like the experience was not that bad. And then just like the full-on avalanche of people trying to leave after they're like, okay guys, you can finally fucking leave, was insane. We stuck around for a little bit. They gifted us things, so I have my show and tell. They gifted us a cute little necklace pendant, like firefly necklace pendant. That's cute, whatever. They gifted us a poster that's very fucking raggedy. But I have it and I have to pay for it. And that was pretty much it. That was it. That was my consolation prize for the horrible fucking shitstorm of an event. I did get to see Ashley Johnson really fucking closely. And I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I was like, I lived in Vancouver for a while. So Vancouver celebrity culture is very much like, they're there, you just don't interact. They're just normal people. So she like passed by me a couple of times and I was just like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to like be a bitch or like interrupt your fucking beautiful ass night. But then the dude that I was with, that I like struck up conversation with, literally was talking to Neil Druckmann, the Last of Us creator, the night before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Neil Druckmann is such a hottie. I'm obsessed with how hot Neil Druckmann is.
He was wearing the nicest fucking blue suit, and he was like, he looked fucking fly as hell. So the dude that I was like sitting next to and like that I struck conversation with was talking to Neil Druckmann the night prior, and they were like, if you're there, like come find me. We'll take a picture. So like we're there, Neil Druckmann's there, we're kind of shuffling out, and he like takes his shot, takes a fucking picture with Neil. Neil takes out his phone and takes a picture of the two of them because we still don't have our phones back. And I'm like,
Jesus.
how is this motherfucker living the dream that I'm supposed to be living? And in front of me, to add insult to injury, I was just like,
Yeah, there's the hottie himself, Neil Druckmann.
Can you find a picture of him at the premiere? That suit was fucking beautiful.
I'm gonna do something great for this podcast. So if anyone's trying to be like, hey, copyright, I'm about to just go to Getty currently and get this image, and I'll credit the photographer and Getty. So Getty, you're getting paid for what I'm about to do. So fully relax if you try and yell at me. Because I don't want Getty to be like, those are... Yeah, and I'm paying for it. So, like, you can relax. Let's see. Neil Druckmann. Keep talking. There are no pictures of Neil Druckmann on Getty.
No, he is really like he's really hot. So we shuffle out. It's kind of stopped raining, but it's like 10 p.m. or some shit. What I finally put together after I was given my phone back and took some stupid pictures outside of the theater because they wouldn't even let us take pictures inside. Okay,
I got you. Here you go. Here are your two pictures.
My two pictures. Annoyed. So annoyed. It was great though. The carpet was beautiful. Like I walked through it, not through it inside, but like through it outside of the little. Listen.
So here's a picture of Neil Druckmann. Credit to Jeff Kravitz, who was a contributor of Getty. I downloaded this image. You have my money. Do not. Don't yell at us.
Please don't sue our podcast.
If that was the only photographer working inside, because there was this dude running around all fucking night taking pictures of us.
That'd be Jeff. That's our boy Jeff.
Looking fucking like, oh my god, we're so happy to be here. Kill us right now.
That's our boy Jeff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Jeff for blinding us a couple of times with that fucking fat ass flash. It was a fucking wild ride. Anyways. After like, I think at that point it was like 2-3 hours, 4 hours probably of just a lot of shit. We make it outside. They literally kicked us out. Like they were not letting us stay, waiting for people. They were just like, get the fuck out, leave.
Oh no.
And to my knowledge, after the fact, they were walking the carpet. They did interviews. They took pictures. And there was this little set that they took everyone in. It was in the theater across from the main theater. And that's where they took all the official pictures that came out after the premiere happened. With the car. I walked past it when I first walked into the street, and it was open. And I dumbly thought, oh, we're just gonna like go through this as part of like the fan thing, right? Like we're just gonna like get to explore whatever, because it's, you know, we're here, and I got there at 4:30. I think my entrance time was 5:30. That was the cutoff. And then the premiere started at 7. So I was like, we have time. What the fuck? Like, there's gotta be something that we gotta do. Like, we're gonna do something. Nope. That was just set dressing for everyone who was invited as press, cast, crew, etc. My friend was there.
Interesting.
My friend took pictures there. My friend got to like stand in behind the photographers as they took all of the cast pictures. And I swear to God, like I've been very vocal about it. I'm pretty sure every meeting that I went to in LA, I was like, so I really want to go to this thing. Is there any way that you can get me in? Very, very awfully like hinting at everybody in person, and then not being cool at all online, being like, I want to go to this fucking premiere. Somebody get me into this fucking premiere.
That's me with Mando. Don't worry.
100%. You should.
Yeah,
you should totally
truly. Same.
I'll see your mutuals with my friend too, and I'll tell her to take you.
Thank you.
Thanks
so much. I desperately need to go.
We should get invited as a podcast. It's
you know,
fun.
It's what makes sense. It's what makes sense.
They should
We know
fly
enough people
Rachel
at
out.
Lucasville.
Hmm.
We know enough people at
Exactly.
Lucasville.
Invite us and give us +1s on top of that so we can bring Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley gotta come.
Yes. Yeah.
Ashley, our producer, is not here tonight, guys, but in her honor, I do have a picture for
Yep.
Stash of the Week when we get to it that she just sent when I was asking for not her suggestion. So she is getting included, and if she cuts this, I'll cut her.
How
but-
dare she?
Continue, because I have no control over what goes into this podcast. Sorry,
I love that. I
continue.
love that it's your podcast, and yet, you know,
Katrina and
out
I
of your
record
hands.
these and then just go have fun, and then
Yeah.
Cool.
Ashley will be like, "Here are the links," and we're like, "Great, thank you so much."
Ashley
I
is the heart
love
of this
that.
podcast.
Yeah, this podcast would not happen without Ashley.
Yep. Brought to you by Ashley's Like You.
Yep. And that was pretty much it. I shuffled out into the night, waited in a restaurant that was already closed because apparently everything closes at 10. Who the
Yeah.
fuck would have thought?
Yeah, everything closes really early in LA. I don't understand why.
It's weird. It's so
Can't
weird.
relate.
Yeah.
It was very odd growing up. Well, not growing up, spending my 20s in New York and then moving here and discovering that things didn't stay open until 4 a.m.
Like if I wanted to, I could
order.
order a whole ass pizza right now and it's 11 here. No one sleeps.
The most we get at 11 is like Domino's, and that's if Domino's is feeling generous. Welcome to Los Angeles.
New York City doesn't sleep, baby.
It's awful. It's awful. And then like the Uber situation was fucking terrible because it was raining. So everything was fucking, and they blocked off the entire street for this event. So prices were just like skyrocketed. Just purely off like there's no street, it's closed down. Anyway, my friend picked me up. I was sad in this restaurant because bar was closed. I couldn't get a drink. Kitchen was closed. I couldn't get anything to eat. And they were very nice to like let me just sit and wait. Because it was dark and I was alone and people be weird. And honestly, I was a little afraid, not gonna lie. But it was just mostly just blind rage. Blind rage and me tweeting blind rage shit. I don't know. If you have my rant, screenshot it. Do not show it, please.
You don't want me to show your rant? Okay, hold on. I do have your page still pulled up, so I can see what your rant was.
It was not my week, okay? It was just not my week. It was awful. Awful. And now I'm back home and like everything's going great. Everything's smooth sailing. I'm doing
good.
Yeah. The universe like had to at some point just give me something to
break.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly.
Really, can I have a break? Please, I'm begging.
They're like, sure, for a little bit. It's fine.
Teeny break just for you.
Oh my God.
Just this tiny break.
But yeah, no, that was my experience. I was annoyed. I went to LA for one reason and one reason only. And I was literally in the same room as this man. And yet I've never been farther apart from him. It was awful. It was awful. And I'm still angry. Like, I can't even. But now, and listen, Rachel, this is just for you and me, because I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to go down. This is going to come to us, Rachel. That's how I'm looking at it. He's going to come seek us out. We're going to be the ones that he wants to meet with, not the other way around. Like, that's the that's the
I mean, Katrina and I have already had that energy with him.
Yeah.
Like, enough of our friends at Star Wars Celebration were like, hey, I know the Podro Pascal team. I know everyone at Podro Pascal. And he finally, like, I think to 2 or 3 of our friends was like, I have to meet these two because all they do is like I hear about them all the time. And we were like, yeah,
she's welcome to.
Yeah, we're not hiding the fact that you can email us at Podro Pascal Pod. Let me clarify that before I do that. Podro Pascal Pod at gmail.com. You can email us, Podro Pascal's team, at podropascalpod@gmail.com.
Yes, you cannot miss us. We're very easy to find.
Oh, I'm sorry, because the story I'm about to tell is a lot more fun.
I
had a
so
funnel
pissed.
time. So, like, on the flip side of a horrible premiere event where you basically were drowned outside in the water and forced to swim your way to see a premiere and then not see Pedro Pascal, I went to an event. I thought maybe he was going to be there because he was supposed to be on Jimmy Fallon, but then he was sick at the premiere. They canceled Jimmy Fallon. So as soon as they canceled Jimmy Fallon, I was like, well, there goes my time and my chance. But it was still very fun. So the event itself was like, they ruined this movie theater called the Angelica in New York, not just for the event. Like, it's fine. You could see After Sun there tonight if you really wanted. But so what they did was they basically made it look like the movie theater had stopped in 2003. And so you're standing outside and these people walk up and like, so outside is like all like there's like trees and broken like branches and all this stuff all over the wall, and it has like Fedra, it tells you the signs, and then over the Fedra logo is like spray painted, when you're lost in the dark, look for the light and stuff like that. Lost in the darkness, but like whatever the quote is spray painted on the wall. And so you're like, we were standing outside and all these people are like filming. And so then the girl behind me was like a manager at TikTok and had a bunch of influencers coming to this thing. And so I was already like, here we fucking go. So we're like standing there. So everyone has their like fucking flashlight cameras out and all this kind of stuff. And I was there with my friend Sophie, who, again, I've talked about Sophie twice now on this podcast. Sophie's going to come on. She's the reason that like I got to see the game played through. They don't have a PlayStation, and I'm also bad at video games. Played through both parts for me. I love Sophie very much. So whenever we were talking about the show, I said any New York events that happened, Sophie's my plus one, because Sophie was the one who kind of like helped me get into all this. So I was like, do you want to come to this event with me? And so she was like, yeah, I'm down. So we're like standing outside. I like bought a whole outfit. I like tried to look all cute. It didn't really fucking matter. No one was there. It was just like me and Sophie. I could have worn jeans and a t-shirt, but fine. But we're like going in, and they're like, there's these two fireflies. They're like, the one girl had her phone, and the guy like walks up to her and goes, what's that device? And like, we're on the street, so we didn't know it had started, I guess. And so we're all just standing there. We were like, and she's like, my phone. And he's like, does that work with Fedra? And we were like, bruh, no one has explained this whole world to us. We knew, because we were like, yeah, like, we get the world of the show, get it. I had seen it, so I was like, we all get it. But it was just like one of those things where we were like, my dude, huh?
Yeah.
And so then we're like, we go in, right? And you walk through they made the like box office all mossy looking, and there's like broken trees and stuff, which was really cool. But they had security all standing there, and I was like, I need all of you to get off these stairs so I could take a picture out here, because this looks really cool, but you're all in my way. So then you get rushed through. They like do a metal detector or whatever, and as soon as we walk in, there's a fallen down like Big Fish poster, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, I love Big Fish. That's one of my favorite movies. Like, that rules. Like, I don't know why Big Fish should be down. And then I slowly realized all the memorabilia was 2003. And I was like, that's dope as shit. So you walk in, and like they have these two guys who are pretending to be fireflies, and they're like, we need to test you to make sure you don't have cordyceps. Here's the thing. What if you just tested me for COVID, and so I made sure I could just like not wear my mask the entire time and not have to worry about it for 3 days? Like, we're not out of a pandemic, and you guys were like fake testing us for a disease. I was like, there's a real one. It could have just like, I don't know, done one of those quick old rapid tests and made sure we were all cool. And I would have stood there and waited so I could eat my popcorn and drink these drinks in peace. But so then we're like, the guy goes, she's in the clear. And they gave us that same necklace that you got. I had that same attire. So when you held it up, I was like, LOL, because that was how they knew you were a firefly.
Oh my god!
And
they
so
should
they
have done
had
like flash tattoos, just like.
Oh, I would have.
That would have been so good.
Oh, well, we had like a stamp that was the firefly, but I would have like if they had like a legit flash tattoo thing, and like you can get a tattoo. I would have had a Last of Us tattoo.
Yeah,
like go ahead, tattoo me. And so like they gave us this, which I wore for a hot second, which it just says The Last of Us. But so then you like walk in, and they have little kind of like places you can walk around, and it was like a radio station, and then when you went to the radio, the girl was like, what do you know about radios? And I was like, there's something about frequencies, and she was like, yeah. And so I had to like be like, New York to Boston, and say some shit, and then listen for the music, and if it was 80, she was like, no, and would run. And then the other girl was doing a map, and so she would like came up to me, and it was very funny because she goes, oh, where did you come from? And I was like, all right, I'll do where I'm from. I'm not going to be like Queens. So like, I'll do where I was born. So I was like, oh, Pittsburgh. And she goes, is there a Firefly station near there? And so I was like, listen, ma'am, I was a theater major. I'm going fully in. So I was like, yeah, in Cranberry. And my friend is next to me and goes, you couldn't think of a real name of a city? I was like, that's literally a city. And she's like, no, it's not. I was like, it is a city outside of Pittsburgh. It's called Cranberry. And she like, the entire time I was trying to take this seriously, she was fighting me on the fact that Cranberry is. I was like, Cranberry is a real city. My mom used to drop her car off there every day and then commute with her friend. Like, it's a real place outside of Pittsburgh. And so then it's pitch dark and foggy in this fucking, like, how they made the lobby of the Angelica look. And this girl was like, okay, here's the stamp. Just, like, push it down and stamp on the map where it is. Which, like, if you look at the Instagram video, you can see, like, my stamp. But I'm also, like, it was so dark, and you wanted me to find where Pittsburgh was on a map. So I was, like, trying to I was like, well, this is Philly, so it's Eastern PA, so we go down and over. And I'm, like, trying to find it, and my friend's not helping me. She was like, isn't it over there? I was like, yeah, thanks. I got it. It's over there. I just can't. I'm like, I'm in Maryland trying to figure out how to get back up to Pittsburgh. And so then, like, I walked around, and so I lost my mind. I made people move out of the way of this picture of this movie poster because it was still when I was figuring out that everything was 2003 themed. And all of a sudden, like, the posters are, like, on the ground. So you're like, oh, it's, like, because it's raggedy and, like, no one's been there. So they're all messed up. Mm-hmm. They had a poster of the movie Secondhand Lions. And there were people standing in front of it, like, people who worked that event. And I went, excuse me, can you move? And so I can take a picture. And, like, no one else that whole night took a picture in front of the Lions poster except for me. I was like, can you get out of my way? And they had posters of, like, The Matrix Revolution was on the wall because that was 2003. They had a news clipping, which was my favorite part. I didn't even see this. I saw this on Twitter. Had a news clipping with an ad for The Machinist. I used to say The Machinist, but my friend made fun of me when I said The Machinist. For The Machinist, which came out in January of 2004. Mm-hmm. So it would have started to promote at that point. So I was like, that's a really cool touch that they were like, this movie came out in January. Like, people would have started to kind of promote it. And so then you walk up and you get your rations, which first of all, they had so many mushroom themed drinks, which in retrospect is weird.
What?
It was all mushroom themed. It was very strange. I'll get to the drink part. But so we're walking up for the rations, and this poor man who's just trying to do his job in acting goes, here's your rations from their Fedra rations, but this will be fine. And they were popcorn, and there was truffle popcorn, so the mushroom, and butter popcorn. My friend got handed the truffle and I got the butter. And so I just, like, stole the truffle from her and was like, you can take the butter as a bit, knowing if she really wanted the truffle, I would either trade back or, like, the guy would offer it. This poor man goes, we have enough rations that you guys can have whatever you want. And then she goes, no, I want the butter. She's just being like, we are friends. Like, this is okay. And so you, like, walk around the corner and they're like, watch out, there's a clicker around the corner. And it's like a photo kind of opportunity. And so you walk through and you get in line and then you get a picture with this clicker where my friend told me to go ahead and just do a peace sign with him. So I just went, okay, and threw up a peace sign with the clicker and I think she, like, was eating popcorn. Like, we were just like, I'm not taking a serious picture because all of these influencers are going to be here. Like, here's my beautiful picture. We were like, woo, what is going? And so then they're like, okay, once you fight off the clicker, I forget what he said. He's like, you're going to go downstairs and you're going to find Charlie and he's going to tell you what you need to do to be a Firefly. And so you walk and it's like spray painted on the wall says, when you're lost in the darkness. And then when you turn the corner, the lobby normally has, like, chairs and, like, chandeliers and, like, nice, like, croissants and stuff that you can eat. And then you go down you check in and you go down this huge escalator downstairs, and all the movie theaters are downstairs. They're not really tiny, but it's the Angelica. It's, like, for the vibe. In this one, you turn and they blocked off the escalator. So you had to, like, walk down the stairs that also exist. And so you kept going and you turned, and then it was this real big open area, which is normally how you leave the theater. And it said they had spray painted, look for the light on the big wall. like as you're going down the stairs. And so then like we go down and find Charlie, which is just a bunch of guys taking our phones. So we also had our phones taken, and they kept being like, make sure you like have your alarm shut off, make sure you shut your thing off. And we sat there for like a half an hour, but it was like I at least had my friend. We were just like chit-chatting and talking and stuff. It did become a game, and like they had this really cool setup, and this is what kind of like I like snuck over and took a picture with it, and they like said it was fine at the end. They had this really cool, nice setup and picture thing. But they took all of our phones, and they instantly took them. Like, it wasn't like we could go and take a picture with it. They were just like, here, I'm putting your phone in this bag. And then I panicked because the guy goes, do you have AirPods? My AirPods were in my bag on the bottom. Like, I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, I need your AirPods put in here. And I was like, what do you think I'm going to do? Just call someone and they can hear it? Like, that means nothing. Like it's not connected, and I was like, okay, but I panicked. Meanwhile, my friend had like an Apple, she had, like all of her shit on her. She just had put it in her bag. So like you go, I got a cup. It's out there, and like they gave us like a Last of Us little. It's a regular cup, but it's a little bit stronger plastic, so you can like keep it for sodas and everything. Like you have water, you could go get a soda, and then like we're sitting in there, and it became a game of who has a watch. So I watched someone at the front find someone with a watch and be like, what time is it? And so he laughed and like said it to her. So at that point I like clocked in, was like, okay, we have like 15 minutes. And so then like we were sitting there for a while, and no one had asked this man again, so I couldn't hear. So then I started being like, I was like looking for a watch. And the girl behind me had a watch, and she like freaked out and goes, oh my God, I forgot I had a watch. And this guy looked at me and finally went, oh my God, I thought you were so weird. And then I realized none of us have watches or clocks or anything. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I cannot tell you what time it is right now. And so she was like, oh, we have like 4 minutes. I'm like, thanks. But so like we watched the show, which there was a guy in the audience. So first of all of my screeners, it said first, last name for the like who did things. Like it said like Podro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, created by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. But for everyone else's name, it just said first, last name. So seeing the real names, I literally was cheering, and I like told my friend, and we were like, "Woo, first, last name!" And, like,
oh God,
like because it was their actual names for once. But so we're sitting in there, and this guy is watching it, and so now that everyone's seen the episode, when the dog is like staring at the old lady, he was like, "Oh no, they always fucking know," out loud. So we all heard this commentary, and we were like, he's not wrong. So then it gets to like when the plane is going down, and he's like, man, this shit's crazy. So we're all like, everyone who's like knows the game or played the game is like trying not to laugh because we're like, this guy's about to have an experience. If he's like, this shit's crazy, we're like, oh no. But it was just like very funny how like he was like, he like stopped talking after a while, and I was like, all right, well, I guess you're just watching it and enjoying it. But he had like a little running commentary going through the whole beginning section, and I loved it for him. I was so happy. So after we go, we take our phones out. Everyone was just walking by this thing, and me and my friend were like, can we go take pictures of that? And the guy was like, yeah, sure. We had to like fight through people to do it, and he like, it was a security guard who let us through, so it was clearly like he wasn't going to tell us to move. He was like, go ahead and take pictures. And so we took him, and then I asked my friend to take my picture. So it was like this really cool mossy setup with the poster and everything. And they put it in the very bottom of this theater. And like, yeah, you're like, but why? Why would you not?
Yeah, that's a choice.
Put it. Yeah, like, look, I mean, on the one hand, I guess I get it. You're just kind of being like, we're trying our best to like get everyone in and out, yada, yada, yada. But the reality is like, no, like a photo op, the thing that people would be like, hi, yes, this is what I want to like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, this is the thing that people would want to see and like put on Instagram. So then people come to this event, you're hiding. So it's just weird. And so then like we go back upstairs, and they're like, okay, everybody, here's what we're doing. we're going to have a past app situation, which 90% of it was mushroom themed. Again,
Amazing.
weird.
Yeah. Strange.
Weird. Like, first of all, this guy told me it was fried chicken, and I ate chicken and waffles, and it was a mushroom. So I was like, my dude, he just like, yeah, it's chicken and waffles, and it was straight up a mushroom. And I was like, okay. And then they had this really nice chocolate thing. Like, they had like, it was good. All the food was great, but it was very much like, why is everything mushroom themed after we just watched a show where like a mushroom fungus disease took over the world? And so like I walked up and the drinks were like wine, beer, or this mushroom martini. And I said, no, thank you. I want a glass of wine. My stupid friend Sophie goes, like this girl was legitimately standing in front of us in line. She had tried the mushroom thing. She goes, I did not like that drink. I returned it and asked them to make me something else. And my dumbass friend goes, I'll try the mushroom drink. And I was like, this girl is telling you to not do it. And she's like, I'll try it. So then she gets it. There's like, everyone was like trying to do the event that we had already kind of done. So we were like, well, we've already seen everything. Why don't we just go sit where there's no one? So like, I was like, I'll take my mask off and I can sit and like drink and we can talk and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up right in front of the door with all the past apps. So like every time they came out, we were the first people sitting there. And I was like, cool, we're just getting all of the food. I love this for us. And so then like she drinks this drink and goes, oh, it's so bad. You need to try it. And I was like, why do you want me to try this drink that you just told me is horrible? Another girl told me it was bad. And I tried it and I was like, yeah, it tastes exactly what I thought a mushroom martini would taste like. Like there's nothing left to the imagination. It tastes like a mushroom martini. And like the one thing I wish they had was like at the LA premiere, they had like the cups that lit up and all that kind of stuff. And like for the after party. And so I was like, I was like, I kind of wish like they had more of those things. But like overall it was like a really fun experience. But it's like it was a fun experience if you know the show and you know the game. So like my friend, I was so glad I got to bring her because like she was having the time of her life because this is her favorite game. So she was like running around taking pictures of all this stuff. Like they had a backpack hang on the thing. She was taking a picture. She asked someone how to get a beanie that they had that just said The Last of Us. And this girl goes, oh, they like give us the stuff. And she's like, oh, but like how can I get one? It's like so
Say.
Your stuff is like, how can I get one of those? And so it was like it was very fun. Like I genuinely had a very fun time and I liked doing that event. It was just like one of those things where I was like, the way it was set up was like, you should have just like, like I get it. Like you want influencers to like the night I went, like it's not a night to judge because it was press and influencers because they wanted people to write and talk about it. Mm-hmm. Obviously I wrote about like, that's what they want you to do. But I do wish that like they slightly prioritized like fans of the game who knew the story because it is one of those things where it's like that experience is enriched tenfold if you knew the story. Because like walking through, like if some guy's like, let me test you, and you came off the street and you don't know jack shit about The Last of Us, you're like, for COVID, like what are you testing me for? So like that was like I think they like my friend Jenna went and she loved it because she played the game. And so like it was just like everyone I know who went to it knew the game. So I'd be very interested to see if people went and they didn't know the game and how they kind of experienced it. But yeah, the event was fun. He was not there, so I also did not see Podro Pascal. I've seen him once in the flesh from very far away and had the same reaction as I did when, hold on, is it in here? I gotta scroll up and see if yep.
You have to have it.
I had a similar reaction to this when he appeared and I saw him in the flesh. It wasn't fully as bad as Harrison Ford, but it was close. Because I had a feeling that Podro Pascal would be there, so I was a little bit more mentally prepared than when Harrison Ford walked out, and I just had seen the love of my life in the flesh for the first time. Also, because I'm here, never forget my picture with Jon Favreau. Still the funniest picture I've ever taken. I wish I could explain quickly how this picture came to be, but it's fine. I told Dave Filoni, you make Pittsburgh proud, and then did not talk to Jon Favreau, who I love so much. I just took a picture with him, and he looked at me, and I was like, bye. Right on, but I had like talked to Dave Filoni. It was crazy. For sure, Jon Favreau was like, this girl's nuts. She didn't even talk to me. And was like just chatting up Dave. And I was like, I'm too nervous. I love Chef. Also, I'm doing this in honor
Underrated
of,
masterpiece.
I love Chef. In honor of what I just went on, we got a tangent. We go on enough tangents that the whole little thing dedicated to it. And so, yeah, those are the events that we got to experience, not us getting interviews with Pedro Pascal or him being on the podcast. But
the one thing that mattered.
Yeah.
But nothing of it was happening.
Nothing.
But it was still like, I mean, speaking for myself, it was still worth it on my end just because like going to that was really fun. I like events like that because again, I was a theater major, so I like, you know,
the theatrics.
Yeah. I like the theatrics. I like kind of doing that stuff. And so it was worth it on that end. I do wish I wish the cup was like a plastic cup so I could be like have that cup and it not be like a weird paper cup that is probably going to go bad sooner rather than later. But yeah, I genuinely had fun, which I think is a very contrast reaction to my event versus your event.
It still strikes me really harshly because I'm just like, why have a fan event or why advertise a fan event if you just don't care, right? Like press, I understand why press got such a cool experience, but at the same time, like we had time. We had
it
all
should
the
have
time
been
in the
at
world.
least you guys getting to walk through and then having, if you guys were upstairs completely on your own, it should have been having someone come upstairs when it was closer to time and being like, okay guys, we have to like lock up your phones, like sorry, at the end come down here, like doing that and making you guys sit there for that long and not have your phones. Like there's only a couple of times like I've had my phone locked, like then my phone was locked away during this and someone's alarm kept going off and we were like, Jesus Christmas. So someone's phone kept going off and we were just kind of like, oh my goodness, why? Like this is why, like, first of all, someone's phone's always going to go off because they'll say, I don't have an alarm, and then their alarm will go off because instead of just double checking, they just said they didn't have one. And so it was like annoying because you could hear them trying to hit it in the bag so that the alarm would shut off. And we were like, it's just going to snooze it. The alarm's going to go off again in like 10 minutes. Thankfully, it was at like the end of the episode. So it was like, all right. Like, and I knew. So I'm sitting there like, it's almost over, dude. Like, relax. Like, yes, it's annoying, but like I was afraid this guy was going to get up and try and get it, like go shut it off. And I was like, literally, you have like 5 minutes left of this episode. Just snooze it one more time. But yeah, like they should have just waited. Like the fact that you guys sat there for hours without phones is what kind of just boggles my mind because there's no reason for it.
The other thing that pissed me off was I'm pretty sure they were live streaming the red carpet, right?
Or there was like enough.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was a live stream, but I think there was enough like constant coverage.
Okay. Right.
Because I was like, they had us in front of a giant ass screen for an hour and a half. They could have just, at the very least, live streamed the whole fucking thing that was happening outside, right?
Yeah.
Like that would have been great.
Yeah, we also had the loop. That's why when you said the loop, we also just had the loop that like was just the screen. And it almost, I told my friend who I went with, because my friend Sophie, when she played through the game on her live stream, at one point she just like put on the like loading screen, which is the window with the curtain blowing, and went to do something. And so I watched that for like 20 minutes. And so I said, I was like, I feel like I'm watching your live stream. And she's like, wow. I was like, it's the same fucking music. It's like, all I need is a window with a curtain going like this. And then it's like, I'm watching the live stream again. And she was like, oh yeah, it really is just like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to scream if they don't start showing this show. But it's like, they should have at least had something for you guys if not, like, like you guys couldn't go take pictures or be on the carpet, they should have at least had somewhere where you guys could sit and hang out.
Yeah.
Because like, or not make you guys go in first. Make you guys be the last people and be like, hurry, 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 sit. Granted, like when I did seat filling for the Tonys, we had to get there super early, and because they had to be like, here's what you can and cannot do, blah, blah, blah. We had our phone, so we were like sitting there. We could all take pictures. We were like getting our Tonys pictures in before like all these people came, and it was like, I don't know, maybe you guys need to vet more like that. Like we had to do an interview for that. Like the guy had to call me and be like, why do you want to be a Tony seat filler? And I had to be like, oh, like I was a performance theater major. I always wanted to go to the Tonys. So like it was a dream of mine. So like doing a seat filling is kind of cool because it's what I always wanted. And he was like, oh, okay. And like, I know it's so many steps to do something that is a simple fan event, but if you're that afraid of people being interactive with anybody, then vet them better. Don't let anybody in. Like, you have the IOTA profiles with your picture and information for a reason. Like,
exactly.
Start calling people, or like have someone whose job is to like super vet people and like look at their social media. Like, I'm sure there were like incel men who got to go to this because it was just like, oh, this guy asked and he won the raffle. But like, if you're that afraid, you could have done like 4 more levels of. I know it's a lot of work with a premiere. And I fully get it. Like, I know how the red carpets and like working the press line work. And it is chaotic because a lot of the time, like, they don't even know all the different moving parts, which is where issues like that happens. Well, on a lighter note, now you get to talk about the Mandalorian trailer.
Yes. Hooray, we made it.
We made it. So Catrina, you take the lead.
Well, first and foremost, I will say, like, the one thought I had during the fan events while watching it, like when Aiko says that it was raining, that is not an understatement. We like had a typhoon going on that week, and Ashley and I did not get those tickets, and I looked outside and I was like, okay, like it's the first premiere that I've missed where I'm like, you know what? That's all right. That wasn't meant for me. So I totally sympathize with you. Like it was not fun. Like LA was flooding. Like we were just learning big lessons about our infrastructure that week. So it was pretty rough. But yeah, so one of the other things that did happen this past week was that the new trailer for The Mandalorian season 3 just dropped, and we got some really good shots and very good looks at what we can expect. This, of course, being one of my favorites. I love seeing Mando just being a cuddly dad. Like he's just taking his son out for a ride in his little hot rod, and it's so sweet, you know. And I like that.
Yeah,
I love
they're
those
back together.
Yes.
People who haven't fucking watched the Book of Boba Fett. I'm sorry
Listen.
that you think it's a bad idea to do a character reuniting with another character in a different show. I don't give two shits. They're all connected. So go watch the Book of Boba Fett, because how are you watching one Star Wars thing but not the other Star Wars thing? Like, listen, I know, like, I'm not caught up on all the animated shows, but I also go and do my research. So if you guys are going to sit there on the internet and be mad that a live action show connects to another live action show and you're missing the little chapters, they're called the book of Boba Fett, and all of the episodes of Mandalorian are like chapter 10. So like, use your brain. Clearly they're connected further than just being part of the same fucking universe, and watch it. So
I think that argument is funny simply because most of the people who are making it are like comics bros, and I'm like, it's exactly like comics, especially Star Wars comics, where like you have to read Darth Vader, the third run of the Darth Vader comic, by the way, completely different from the first Darth Vader comic or the second Darth Vader comic, all 3 of which are titled Darth Vader, but are completely different stories. You have to read chapter 7 of that and chapter 47 of Star Wars, and then you have to read this 5-issue like Leia side story, and then you know where Afra came from.
It's also one of those things where, like, do you know how many times like a comic book will have like a little asterisk and be like, this is from Thor number 4, and it's like made in like 19 75. I'm like, Thor number 4? You want me to go 30 years back in time and like get that comic book? Like, what the fuck?
So,
Like,
I mean, I get the complaints, but it's also just like we live in the age of Wikipedia, we live in the age of Google, and we live in an age where recaps are just going to take care of it and go like,
no,
previously
Not only
on the
that,
Book of
like
Boba
same
Fett.
day spoilers.
Yeah.
Like,
do not give. Listen, no. We're not giving those people complaining. If you genuinely have not had time to watch Book of Boba Fett, it's been a fucking year. You could have found time to watch however many episodes in a year. I'm so sorry, but like, there are general complaints about the Book of Boba Fett that make sense, but they make sense because people have watched the fucking show. I don't want to hear these fucking complaints about people who are like, well, I didn't know that they're about to. You didn't watch a television show that is part of a shared universe. How is that my fault? And here's why I'm not giving them credit, like not letting them slide, because it's like, no. So many times, those are the kind of dudes who would be like, girls don't like comics. They don't know anything. Meanwhile, I'm like, these two are father and son. They got together because Din Djarin was like, here's a little baby chainmail made out of Beskar. Do you want to come with me? And Luke was like, do you want to come with him? And Grogu went, uh-huh. And he flew a little fucking plane to help his dad. So, like, I'm sorry, but if you are going to sit there and tell me that, like, if I have to prove that I like a fucking franchise and I have to, like, be like, oh, I love Spider-Man, I know a lot about Spider-Man, and they're like, issue number 45, shut the fuck up. You don't get to talk about having to watch the Book of Boba Fett in order to understand The Mandalorian. If you didn't watch The Mandalorian and you watched the Book of Boba Fett, it also wouldn't make any fucking sense. They're a part of a whole fucking storyline in a bigger universe. Granted, you don't have to watch Andor to make these two shows make sense. You don't. I hit a straw in my Italian arm flailing. You don't have to watch Andor or Obi-Wan to make this make sense, and you don't even have to watch Obi-Wan to make Andor make sense. But there are things that you have to watch in order to make these things all connect. And so it's like, I don't know where these galaxy brain fucking people are coming out of the woodworks to be like, oh, what is broken with it? It's not that hard to get.
No, it's not. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people just kind of want to complain. Like this is, I guess, maybe going to be a little spicy, but like one of the complaints I'm kind of like about every time I see somebody talking about The Last of Us is like, oh, another zombie show, oh, another pandemic show. And it's like, you could just choose not to do it, not to talk about it. Like you sit here and be negative about it. That's like your prerogative and stuff. It's just, you just look silly saying that, because no matter what you do, humanity will always be fascinated with these general subjects. So yeah, I don't know. But going back to it, I think, like it's not something that I think people are going to have a huge problem with. I think that in the recap, it's just going to be like previously on the Book of Boba Fett episodes, blah and blah. Like you have the option to watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, now you know what it is because it's in the recap. And if you skip the recap, that's your problem. Like, I'm sorry. Like, whatever. I don't know. I just feel like we've entered this age of like non-complaints because, like, I don't know, we're all mostly.
I'll hit you back up when the season comes out because I think that's gonna be my dad. When the fuck did this happen? And I'm gonna have to be like, we watched this together.
You're gonna have to come back on
It came out.
Like, my dude. And also, don't call The Last of Us a zombie show around Neil Druckmann. I learned that recently. Neil Druckmann's like, they're not zombies.
No, they're the infected, they're clickers, etc. But here's the thing also, that, and the final thing I will say about that particular complaint. In order to understand a lot of the deeper things about The Mandalorian, you needed to watch Clone Wars episode 42, Clone Wars episode 12, Clone Wars this and that, to know where people are coming from and who they are and why they're important. Like, if you didn't know who Bo-Katan was when she showed up in the show, like, you'd have to go back and watch it. And I think that, like, people who are longtime Star Wars fans that just want reasons to complain about the Book of Boba Fett are saying that. And it's like, you literally did that so that you could understand this show. Like, that's how it is with the Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni project. They pull out their toys from other shows and they put them in this show. And you have to know who those toys are, or else, you don't.
was just, we're gonna talk about this trailer, but I just want to, like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, listen, and even if you don't, do your own research.
Yeah.
There are so many comic characters that I don't know that much about because, again, I grew up in a DC household and I've kind of learned my Marvel through my friends and like Marvel all on my own.
Mhm.
Minus Spider-Man. We've always been a Spider-Man family, but so I go and I do my research. Like I look up these comics, or I like if I have it on my Marvel Unlimited, I'll like go through it really quick and read what I can. Like you should be doing the same thing with Star Wars. So like if you don't know why that is, that's no one's problem but your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You clearly missed something. Go ahead and do your little research and go and see what you missed. Because why is it my fault that you didn't watch something? It's not anymore. And so now here's Grogu in a ship with his big old ears.
Yay.
Baby.
What a good baby. He's such a good baby.
Oh my gosh, he's the bestest boy.
Best little baby in the world.
So let me do a real quick rundown of the trailer, and then I want to ask you why you sent me some of these pictures.
Yeah.
I want to know your breakdown, what you're thinking. So the trailer is basically just more of kind of like what we got with that first trailer, but it's just Din talking about like going to become a Mandalorian again because, you know, he's part of a cult and he can't get his little ass out of it. And so he's like, I have to go to Mandalore so I can get out of this cult I'm in. Has one of the hottest entrances yet again.
He's literally like going back home to like going back to Mandalore to fucking re-enter his position in this fucking cult. I'm like, dude.
So yes, so I need Leah from the Twilight movies. Leah Clearwater is part of Jacob's pack, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call them anymore. And she's all like angry because her boyfriend imprinted on another woman. Anyways, she's the lady from that planet where Grogu is like, I got a bunch of friends. And so I need her to come back because Cobb Vanth ain't doing it. I need her to come back and be like, yo, dude, you're in a cult. And then maybe he'll wake up and be like, oh my God, I should marry Cobb Vanth.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, Ashley, you can keep this in. I gotta tell you about this fan art I found when I was looking for GIFs of the Mandalorian season 2 show. So
please, I love Cobb Mando. I'm like all about it.
I simply just typed into the Tumblr search bar Din Djarin. I almost said Tin Djarin. Din Djarin. And the first thing that came up was a Din Cobb fan art, and I was like, I'm in. And it looked like they were shopping at the New York Christmas market.
Nice.
And they were just like hanging out, shopping. And I loved it so much. And if they want to do that in the show, no notes. But yeah, so the trailers, I'm trying to reinvent myself by going back into my cult. And he's like, with a bunch of Mandalorians. There are so many Mandalorians in this trailer. It's nuts. And one of the hottest parts is he like walks through a bunch of Mandalorians in a way that I'm like, hell yeah, Din can make a fucking entrance. And he like walks through them, and then like it shows a bunch of people flying. He like goes and he hangs out with Grief Karga. They're like, what up, buddies? Cara Dune jumped off a cliff. It was real sad. And
she died on the way back to her home planet.
She went back to Alderaan for some reason. Alderaan and exploded planet 10 years ago, or whatever it is. And so like it's like him reunited with Grogu, then him talking about I'm gonna go back to this cult, and then like them talking a lot about the Mandalorians, but it's like very vague. But yet you get to see Babu Frick, and you see or the Babu Fricks. They're like Yoda. What the fuck species is a Babu Frick? It's like,
listen, who cares? They're the hottest fucking character ever. And Mando got fucking out-hotted in his own fucking show. I can send you the TikToks if you've never seen the TikToks. It will make you fucking lose your mind. I'll send them to you immediately after this.
Oh my God. Hey, Babu.
Hottest man. The end.
Oh my God. So Babu Frick, aka Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter. Babu Frick species in this. My favorite Star Wars fact is that if you look up the species of Yaddle, it says the same species as Yoda. And I'm like, how is that helpful to anybody involved?
They just have no
So-
species
because
names.
they don't know.
Simply,
So you're like, Grogu species, same as Yaddle and Yoda. I'm like, thank you so much to everyone involved in Star Wars, because everything is so detailed, and then it's like, Anzellan? Hold on, sorry. Ashley said Babu Frick was an Anzellan. What the fuck is an Anzellan? That's not helpful. I don't know what an Anzellan is. Great. All the Star Wars bros be like, oh, you should know what an Anzellan is. I don't know why Grogu's in a ship with fucking Din Djarin, but you should know what an Anzellan is.
Yeah, you really
Anyways,
should.
yeah, the trailer is pretty simple. Go be in a cult. Here's all my Mandalorian bros. So Catrina, I want to know what's your thoughts on this? What do you think is going on?
I am really interested in seeing whose helmet that is. I included that specifically because it could be something and it could be nothing. Which is pretty par for the course when it comes to to Star Wars trailers. They show us something and they're like, "Whoa, look at this! This is so cool! It's so interesting." But it could really just be some person's helmet from the ruins, and I'm super hyped for it. I have something very cool coming out very soon that I can't talk about just yet. That involves the ruins of Mandalore, and so I am specifically interested in what this is going to look like on the big screen and like how they're going to deal with that. And I kind of for like diaspora reasons, I would really love for Boba Fett to be involved in Mando's quest to Mandalore.
I mean, he should be. It's only fair.
It's only fair. Yeah,
give him 3 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. 3 episodes where we don't follow Mando at all. Like Mando and Grogu are off somewhere, and it's just Boba
they're on
Fett
a vacation.
episodes.
Boba Fett said, "Go check in on Frog Lady," and they're like, "Hey, your friend Nick Nolte is alive, actually. So you want to go hang out with him for a while?"
God, I would.
Katrina, do you remember how obsessed I was with the Nick Nolte figure at Star Wars Celebration?
It's like, man, the thing about that character, about Kuiil, that's so upsetting is like he's like deader than dead. Like Mando personally burned his body. Like with Star Wars characters, usually it's like, oh, they died off screen, or they died in a book, or they flew off screen until you could not see them again, so they could still be alive, possibly. But Kuiil is dead. And
here's my dream for Cara Dune. Here's my dream for Cara Dune. It is revealed that Nick Nolte was secretly Cara Dune, and Cara Dune got burned, and so then Nick Nolte just like peels off the figure of Gina Carano. And it's like, it's me, Nick Nolte. I'm so sorry. You said his name and I still didn't learn it. I'm like, it's Nick Nolte. I gave 0 fucks. That is Nick Nolte. That's like, or like it's a face-off situation where like he's burned, but he's like crawls his way out, and so then like
they took his consciousness and installed it into Cara Dune, but Cara Dune's face and body has been morphed into somebody else, and so it's actually just a woman who is voiced by Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah, just like a really strong lady they cast, and they just dub his voice into
It's
her.
Lucy Lawless, but with the voice of Nick Nolte.
Yes. Though I will say that like if Cara Dune is ever recast, I hope it's with a really awesome trans actress, just to really really stick it to him.
It would be so good.
Oh yeah,
it'd be perfect.
But yeah, so the trailer is it's fun. What's everyone's thoughts on the trailer?
I'm excited. I expect. I don't know why I'm this dumb, but I expected to see a little bit more with regards to the plot. But it kind of just like rounded about where Mando left off. Was like, I'm going to go to Mandalore. I'm going to connect with my people. I have this sword here, so I guess I'm like the king of Mandalore or something. So I have to like go. Like, yeah. So he's going to potentially claim his throne. Who knows?
No, I need Bo-Katan to kick his fucking ass. This is dumb at this point.
Yeah, Mando doesn't. He's like the ongoing joke that everyone says is that Mando doesn't really realize he's in Star Wars. He's just like going about his everyday life, and like you can't
Because
have
he's like,
yeah.
what's a Jedi? Is this Jedi? And it's a
Yeah.
rock. And you're
It's like
no.
the dude
No, my
who
guy,
works
it's
at
a rock.
yeah, it's like the equivalent of like the dude who works at the bodega getting like the Holy Grail. Like, like he doesn't want that trouble, you know. He just wants
the
to,
education system in Star Wars is fucked.
There's like no historical record of anything in Star Wars.
Nothing.
If it didn't happen in the past 10 years, nobody remembers it. That's how the Emperor has succeeded.
He's a himbo. And I like fought someone one time. They were like, he's not a himbo. I was like, I'm sorry, you think this guy has a brain cell? He is the dumbest thing I've ever seen on this. He's so hot. But he is just beyond stupid. This character is like, he tried to do a face scan with a helmet on, and people are trying to tell me that this character is intelligent. They said,
sorry,
we're going to scan your face, and he kept the helmet on.
Look,
and then when it said, take the helmet off, and we're going to set the alarms off, he was like, okay. And then took the helmet off. Like, he had to be prompted. And I know, I get it. He's brainwashed. He's in a cult. But you cannot be that stupid. You're sitting there, and it's telling you, I need to see your eyes. And he's like, you can see them through the helmet.
Look, I'm sorry, but Mando cannot be the smartest character in Star Wars, because if he was smart, why would he be in a cult? Like that doesn't,
is true.
That doesn't really, you don't get someone telling you like the sky is gonna rain blood if you don't wear your Mando helmet, and then somebody goes like, all right, like there's a degree of like awareness that that Mando lacked when we met him, that I think we're going to see him kind of broaden, thankfully. I think that like this
Bill
season,
Burr's about to come back and be like, yo, bro, what the fuck?
Hey, dude, you want to do some algebra?
That's the only time I would fully appreciate Bill Burr coming back, is like Mando's like about to find Mandalore, and then Bill Burr just like busts in a room and he's like, my guy, we had a conversation about the fucking cult. Like, what do you mean? We literally had to talk about how this was a cult. I straight up told you that you were in a cult. And yet.
But
I love him for it. But there's not a brain cell in that man. And like, to be fair to, I guess, people in cults, sometimes you can get tricked, but you're still dumb. You went into a cult.
Okay, in his defense, and I will say this because I cannot fucking deal with it, and it's part of the layered effect of like his character. He was a child. He was a child, and he was groomed.
He was at least 10. He had enough brain cells that he could have been like,
but again,
I don't know about
alone, that. His family dead. I understand to a degree. Now it's to the point where it's like, we gotta deprogram this stupid fucking brain, dude.
If Bill Burr is looking at you and Bill Burr is making more sense.
If Bill Burr is telling you.
Like, if Bill Burr's like, hey, buddy, you're in a fucking cult. Like, if you're in it as a kid, I get it. You're like brainwashed as a child. It's a whole situation. There is no reason this 40-ass-year-old Mandalorian is still in this cult and not. And like, enough people have been like, hey, this is stupid. Other Mandalorians have been like, my dude, look, woo, I'm taking the helmet off. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's changed. And he's like,
my favorite bit of this entire thing is that Grogu, baby Grogu, got himself out of a cult before even like getting too far in. And this motherfucking 40-year-old man is just like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna like reconnect with my cult's like ideology.
He did twice. Grogu got out of the cult twice because he went the whole time. He like got out and then forgot about it to protect himself. He's like, I am not gonna think about this cult. I'm not gonna think about the cult. And then leader of the cult brought him back to the cult. And Grogu again said, right, this is a cult. And
Dad, this is getting uncomfortable. Dad, this is getting like...
For the second time, twice, Grogu left a cult. And there's Din. Just our dumb Din Djarin is like, I don't know, man. I think I need to go back to Mandalore and become a Mandalorian again. And they're like, you're wearing your helmet now. What has changed? And he's like, no. Took it off, so I'm not a Mandalorian. And they're like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's like
He's also a terrible liar. I would have been just like, yeah, just gaslight all these Mandalorians into believing that I'm totally
three
like
of them.
not
There
straying
were
away
three
from
of them.
What are they gonna do?
Not even. I think there were two at that point. It was Jon Favreau and the Armorer. You couldn't have just lied to them and said I never took off my helmet. She straight up in the Book of Boba Fett. If you watch it in the Book of Boba Fett, she is like, yeah, buddy. Like as long as you never took your helmet off. She didn't know he didn't take it off, and then he gets real quiet. Like you couldn't think of something. You couldn't have thought of a single thing to say that would like get you out of that situation. And then he's like, "I needed to protect my son." No, you didn't, but you did, but you didn't need to tell her. She didn't need to know. Jon Favreau didn't need to know.
Well, I think that this season we're going to see Mando unlearn some of those cult ties for sure. It seems to be what he's trying to do, and I'm excited because like this whole cult thing was a part of Mandalorian culture that like none of us knew about. I didn't know about that, and I watched all of Clone Wars.
Me too.
It's like it's gonna be interesting to see. I really want to see the line from like Mandalore of the Clone Wars era to the Mandalore we know now, and how the culture has split like that, because that goes all the way back to when Maul took over and Death Watch started, and so I'm interested in seeing like how that has changed, like what is universal in Mandalorian culture and what is broken off as a result of what's happened to Mandalore. And I'd also just like a clearer picture of what has happened to Mandalore. Like we have heard a lot of like the great disaster. Oh, you know, Sabine created weapons that the Empire used against Mandalore, and all this stuff. But like, you know, we saw the siege of Mandalore, but clearly something happened like a few years later that completely tore apart this entire planet of people. And like, you know, I know that Star Wars planets are all biomes, but like that's a lot of people to displace and kill. So I'm interested in seeing like what those branches are and which branches that Mando is going to interact with.
The cult branch.
Well, he's already he's interacted with the cult branch. Now he's going to go interact with probably Bo-Katan and like maybe some former Death Watch people. Who knows? And then speaking of
I'm leaning
cults,
more towards Death Watch.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
That would be awesome. I like there are some characters in Death Watch that I would love to see again, and some that I'm just like glad to know that they're dead.
I hope there's a branch. I hope there's a branch of like Mandalorians on Mandalore that are just in charge of like cooking, and he's like, I want to see what they're up to.
Janitors. They call themselves Janalorians.
He's like, guys, I know where I belong. Mm-hmm. It's with the bus boys, not the cooks, not the waiters. I'm the bus boys, Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. Because they gotta fight too, I'm sure. Mandalore. I don't know what's going on Mandalore. I'm sure they're fighting there, but I that's what my hope is. That there's a branch of Mandalorians that are specifically bus boys, and that's where Din ends up. Well, we've talked about this Mandalorian trailer. We've talked about our fan events. It is now time for a tried, a true. Hold on. Here we go. Stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro's. Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we pick our favorite stashes of Pedro Pascal's week, year, month, life, death. He's alive. Just, you know, general being. Mm-hmm. So this week, there's plenty. We got a lot, because Ashley's surprise is coming up. So who would like to go first?
I'll do it. I'll go first. I believe I have the least exciting one. I love this stash. This stash says, I woke up this morning. I woke up like this. No one styled my hair. In fact, I didn't let anyone touch my hair today. I didn't even touch my hair today. And you know what? You just have to deal with it. So I like to call this the Sass Stash. This was from the unbelievable Weight of Massive Talent premiere with that really nice white suit. And I love this photo of him because it's just like, what are you going to do? I just don't care. I don't have executive function right now. And I relate to that.
Perfect. All right, Aiko, as our guest, you get to go next. And you picked this lovely picture.
Listen, this fucking picture is iconic. I saw this stash just as I left the theater after the aforementioned awful fucking experience at a premiere that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost it because I was like, I could have been that person that took that picture. It could have been me. I could have been there. I could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of broke something in me. I think that was the final straw. But here he is, looking fabulous.
Here's the stash that broke Aiko.
Yeah, it is. It fucking broke me. And now I'm just like...
I should put that across the picture in big red letters. The stash that
please.
broke Aiko. And it's like
That's
over
the
his
tweet.
eyes.
That's the tweet. That's the promotional material.
To be clear, so for mine, I was trying to find these pictures, to which I texted Ashley in the group chat for this episode, can you send me the pictures from when he went ahead and killed that fucking kid? Which I was talking about this moment from The Last of Us, where Joel Miller had just thrown the body of a dead child into a fire. Our producer told me to shut up. That's not even what I'm doing for you. This is my favorite look. Yeah, I love that they put gray in his hair. I'm obsessed with it. They said Clint Eastwood, which, you know, Tess calls him Clint Eastwood. So, like,
yeah, she
was not wrong. He does go full Clint Eastwood. Also, my favorite stash, obviously. Oh my God, my daughter got shot. Here's my ass. Which is my favorite.
Let me just
moment.
pose real quick.
Yeah, like listen, I love that show, but that's an insane shot. Yeah, to be fair, Ash in the chat just pointed out he did not kill that kid. The kid was dead already when he threw the dead body into the fire. But you know, same feeling,
same difference,
same chutzpah, as you will. Like he was not having it, threw the kid's dead body into the flame. And so the gift to Ashley is that she gets a stash of the week choice this week, because I specifically said, hey everyone, send me your stash of the weeks. And Ashley, who doesn't do stash of the week typically, sent me a picture. So I have decided that Ashley gets to be included, and I'm going to talk through why I think Ashley picked this. You can correct me as, she said thank you. You can correct me as however you want in the chat. I will decide whether or not I want to read it. So Ashley sent this. When I asked everyone else to send me a picture, Ashley just sent me this, which I feel like is a screen grab from a GIF. Doesn't look like a still picture. It looks like she just screenshot a GIF and sent this to me. But it is from the same vein as my stash of the week, where he has his gray hair and he's like, what up, I'm 56. It's like, I wish that, like, I feel like the energy of this is, my friend is obsessed with this kid, but it gives me the energy of that kid on TikTok who's like, what up, y'all already know who I am, I'm Topher, that everyone has become obsessed with. Like, I feel like that's him in the 2023 storyline. He's just like, y'all already know who I am, you know my deal, I'm Joel, I'm sad, I'll throw this kid's dead body into a fire.
I'll break your fucking jaw.
Yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. My daughter's dead, so I'm dead inside. Like, just, that's what I was thinking Ashley was thinking when she was going through thinking this.
Honestly, that's so much better than what I thought she was thinking, because, like, I thought
what do you think Ashley was thinking?
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna wait for Ashley to type. I'm gonna tell you though, I thought that was her producer face. Like every time we're just like in the middle of the show, and we're like, actually, can you pull a screen grab for this? Can you go to second 42, minute 57, and get this specific screen grab, please? And that's like the face she makes.
She said what Catrina said. Yeah, it is literally. I wish I could explain the chaos of the last episode where we were like, I need this. It was like the vaguest of descriptions of what we wanted from the episode. We'd be like, he crosses his arms, and she's like, wait, we went like this. And then like trying to describe to her that I wanted the bloody bicep was my favorite part because I simply just said blood, and she gave me this. She didn't hesitate. She knew exactly what I wanted, and it was a bloody bicep. But yeah, so those are the slashes of the week. Our favorite section. So as we're wrapping up, Aiko, why don't you tell everyone? I say your name so fast, but I also just talk fast, and I'm like, I feel like I sound crazy saying your name. So I'm like, I don't want to tell everyone what I'm talking about. But Aiko, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and how you as a professional simp should actually be found on the internet?
Of course, duh. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Aiko H Writes. That is AIKOHWRITES. And you can find me over at Screen Spec. I'm actually recapping The Last of Us as well. I literally just sent in my first recap because I had to like type out my entire premiere experience, and that was like the longest fucking shit ever. It's like 3 pages of me just being like, this was the worst. But yeah, I'll be hopefully recapping the show as it goes along, and then somehow sprinkle in my Sundance stuff because this month for me is crazy. But anyways, you can find me there. Feel free to DM me and send me all of your fan cams. I love them. I look for them.
I want all of the Joel Miller fan cams, but set it to like "Oh Baby" by LCD Sound System. I feel like Joel Miller would really get into LCD Sound System. They wouldn't have really been out yet. I feel like Joel Miller would love that.
It's Joel Miller coded. It's perfect.
He would love the Killers or LCD Sound System. Catrina, where can the people find you?
Hi, you can find me anywhere on the internet if you look for Catrina. That's OHCATRINA. You can find me here on this podcast so many times over the course of like the next 4 months. We are going to be doing so many episodes. I will also be streaming over on Twitch starting on February 1st. That can be twitch.tv/OKatrina. And I'll be doing a bunch of other stuff this year that I can't talk about yet, but that's where you'll find me.
You can find me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, Rachel_Leishman on Instagram. Forgot what that social media app was called for a second. And you can follow my work at the Mary Soon Collider, and find me here at Podro Pascal, where you can follow us all over the internet with that same handle every week now, so that we can talk about The Last of Us and then The Mandalorian, where we will bring Aiko back so she can tell us whether or not her father said, when did this happen?
When the fuck did this happen?
And until next time, like, rate, review, subscribe, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.